today, and today we're going to discuss networking. I know I've kind of talked about it ad nauseum for the past couple weeks, but today we're really going to focus on what that means and why it's so important. So, I have a quick question for you. Let me see if this surprises you. Look at this number. It says 70% of job seekers find success through connections, i.e., networking. What does that mean? That means 70% of people that are looking for a job find their job just based on people they already know. You guys surprised by that number? I will tell you, as someone that has hired people in the past, when a coworker or someone that works for me or someone that used to work for me says to me, "Hey, I saw you advertise for whatever position. I know someone. Here's their resume." I love it. You know why? Because one, if I respect the person that's giving it to me, right? So technically, these people are kind of putting their reputation on the line for you. In a sense, I am going to interview that person. Whether they get the job or not, I'm going to interview that person because I know this person and they referred this person. I feel like they know what I want, they know what I need, and they did a referral. It happens more often than not. Companies don't like to do a whole job search thing. It's not fun. It's not fun for you. It's not fun for them. They don't want to have to go through all hundreds and hundreds of resumes. It is an ordeal. They don't want to have to make time because think about it. When you're working, like let's imagine all of us are working. If you're the person that has to hire, you're the supervisor that has to hire. You have to work with HR, if there even is an HR department, create the advertisement, post it, receive all these resumes. If you don't have HR support, you have to go through all the resumes. Sometimes you have to deny the ones that you didn't choose, set up interview times, carve out time during your day to do the interviews, right? So imagine you have just your regular job, but you have to stop all of this and do these interviews. Or you can work with the people that you know that have already referred you someone and meet with those people first to see if you like them and not have to go through all of that. Which one do you think most companies are going to do? They're going to go through with the networking people that they know. Now, here's another stat. 87% of recruiters use LinkedIn to find job applicants. Are you guys surprised by that number? 87%. So that means that of the HR department, HR recruiters, internal recruiters, external recruiters, 87% use LinkedIn to find job applicants. So for the positions that they could not hire via networking, they're going to use job boards. Now, I will give this one caveat. If you like a company, my recommendation to you is to apply on their website. If you see a job advertisement via, let's say, Indeed.com or sometimes even LinkedIn, go to their website and apply through their website because they will download those applications first. It's easier to do it for you on LinkedIn, on Indeed, because you don't have to fill out those long applications. You know how some jobs have these long application processes. So a lot of people like to apply via Indeed and via LinkedIn. But most companies are going to download the applications from their own personal website first. Also, some of these job boards do not do a good job of updating the job posting. So that job posting could be 2 weeks old. But if they haven't updated it, then you're applying to a job that has already been filled, right? And of course, Indeed or LinkedIn, or especially those other job boards, are not going to say, oh, my bad. There are two different types of job boards. There are the ones that are direct, meaning that the company actually pays that job board to post. And then there are indirect job boards, which means that they extract jobs from job boards and they create it on their job board site. And all they're really doing is doing more marketing to say, oh, here's a job, but it's not even their job. So what they do is they'll post the job, and these job boards are like, an example would be like a Zip Recruiter, for example. It's not even their job posting. It could be an Indeed job posting, but they're reposting the posting. So now imagine if you go through a Zip Recruiter and you apply for a job, and then they have to send it to Indeed, and then Indeed has to send it to the company. You're better off just going through the company. So if you're finding it challenging to get, responses from jobs that you've applied to, try just applying directly to that job. Yes, it is a little bit more cumbersome because you have to, if they have those antiquated job applications and you're like, I just gave you my resume, but now you want me to fill out 5 pages. I know it is so annoying, but it's worth it. There are even extensions that you can put on your like Google web browsers to help you fill out those job applications. One is called, I think it's called, is it Jobs? Oh shoot, I forgot it. Jobs.ai, something like that. There are these applications where they're extensions, and if it sees that you're filling out an application, it will self-populate the application for you using your resume, because nobody loves to take the time to do that. And sometimes it can take 20, 30 minutes just for one job application. And let's imagine you're applying to 10 different jobs. Like, it's a full-time job just to apply for jobs, right? I get it. But my advice to you is apply via that company. And sometimes it's okay to apply via that company and to respond to a LinkedIn or an Indeed, right? Do whatever you need to do, but that is my advice to you. Of course, we already know they are going to use ATS systems, especially if they are getting the job from a job board. They'll probably have it set up where even with their own internal job application, that those applications get funneled through their ATS system looking for those keywords. So just be mindful of that. Most companies, and you see here it says over 75% of companies use those software applications. So yes, again, it is very cumbersome to have to adjust your resume to that job description. And there are software applications that do that for you. This one, I want to, I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about. If you do, let the class know. I'm going to try to get it. I had that extension on mine. A lot of times if you're on in linkedin.com, and when we go over LinkedIn next week, I'll pull it up. But it's job hire. I think it's maybe jobhire.ai or something like that. It is an AI application. And what it will also do for you, it will adjust your resume. Like sometimes it'll make suggestions for you to say, hey, you may need to adjust your resume a bit to get a better response from this job, which is great. So, AI tools are really good for a lot of different reasons, especially when you're on the job hunt. Where can you network? Well, we touched a little bit on like we said in the participation question yesterday, people that you know, like who do you know, right? Who do you know in and out of the business? Now that you're in a career, you can convert some of these relationships into something more professional. Think of it this way. If you are at a barbecue at your family's house, right? And we all know about those house parties, right? Family house parties. You have people that come that maybe you have engaged with on a social level only. Maybe you haven't really paid attention to what cousin Sarah does. But now you've realized, and this happened to me, and it is a detriment to me because I never paid attention. And I'll give a real example. Let me use myself. I had a cousin, she was like an older cousin. And unbeknownst to me, she and I were in the same profession. I left the military and I went into nonprofit. I was doing nonprofit finance and I went into grant writing, started working very closely with, a lot of different municipalities, a lot of state and local officials. Well, unbeknownst to me, my cousin worked for the mayor. I had no idea. We're going to church together. She's older, so it's not like I'm in a, she's old enough to be my mom. So it's not like I was like interacting with her on that social level, right? We're not going to the club together, but we're in church together. We're at events together. I'm not paying attention to what she's talking about because, those old folks are back in there doing their thing and the young folks are doing their thing. Well, unbeknownst to me, this whole time, I'm working in a parallel field as her, and she had the inside scoop. She knew the mayor, she knew all the politicians. Apparently she went to all these major events that I was trying to get my foot in the door. How did I find out? Then I mean, it's disgusting. Unfortunately, at her funeral, I see all these politicians showing up. And one of the politicians I actually went to school with. So I'm like, what are you doing here? And he goes, well, I worked with her. And she's getting these proclamations and stuff. I was so dumbfounded that my relative had the end to all these people that I was trying to get connected to. It is so important to network, and it starts with the people that you know. How many of you know you can say of your immediate family member or extended family member, you actually know the type of work that they do? Now, we all know somebody in our family, like, I have no idea what that person does for a living. You may want to start to network. You may want to start to find out, even if it's friends of friends, start with your inner circle and then work your way out. It's important to talk to people because this is how, I'm telling you guys, I hate to say it, this is how deals are done. I know you guys are so used to, those shows that talk about, people cutting deals on the golf course or in, these country clubs. That all is true, but in reality, what they're really saying to you is people socialize, people network. All that is just networking. So at every level, whether you are a politician, whether you are a banker, you're in a electrical field, you have to network. Like, I can't say that enough. On the screen, it talks about a lot of different places you can network. When you're trying to expand your network, LinkedIn is a great one. Facebook, connecting to those different Facebook, groups, recruiters. There's so many recruiters on LinkedIn. You can send them your resume. A lot of times they will reach out to you and say, hey, can I have your resume in case something comes up? You never know, my friends. You never know. They may reach out to you 2 years later, but who cares? It's like, you've put yourself out there, and it's all about networking. Obviously, conferences. We've talked about your existing networks, professional associations. Each of you have professional associations in your industries. Once you get into your industry and you poke around and you truly, truly feel like you know where you're going to go, I highly encourage you to set up for these professional associations. Oftentimes, these people are connected to top companies. They know what's happening in the industry. They know how the economy may affect your industry. This is particularly important if you're trying to start your own business. Like, you need to have your pulse on what's happening in your industry. I mean, look at what's happening right now in the housing market in Florida. Anybody know? It ain't looking too bright, right? And so you may say, well, what does that have to do with me? Well, electricians, HVAC, welding, all of that is part of your work, right? That it is important. That is something you want to pay attention to. How is that affecting my field? That is important for you to keep your pulse on what's happening in the economy as well. So, what is networking? Talking. Talking and establishing these relationships. It's a professional network. It's very different from a social network because people actually expect you to stay professional. Most people, when they're interacting with you, they're not really talking about anything personal. They're talking about business. And that's great because guess what? Most of your social networks don't want to hear about your profession. Right? They don't want to hear about that. They want to just chill and do whatever. But that's why you have this professional network that wants to talk shop. They want to talk about what's happening in your industry. That's great. That's why you have that professional network. You don't even have to be personal with this professional network. You don't even have to talk to these people on a regular basis. This is why we wanted you to do that informational interviewing. We want you to get used to this strategy used to ask for advice. It opens the door for you to talk to people. Again, LinkedIn is a great way to use it. It's one of the best ways to DM someone, that you don't know. You can send them a message introducing yourself like we've taught you and ask a question. You would be surprised at how people will respond to you because they want to network too. That's the great thing. They want to get their names out there. I have so many people trying to connect with me on LinkedIn. Sometimes I'm like, oh my goodness, how did you even find me? But I'm like, okay, fine, because you never know. As long as they have a reputable company, I will connect with them because you never know, right? They saw something on my profile that made them want to connect with me. Good for me. You never know. I may need them at some point. To that point, one thing about networking is you cannot be self-centered. Like, you cannot only engage with people when you want something. So what does that mean? That means that if you're using LinkedIn primarily as a networking tool, you will get these feeds the same way that you would do on your Instagram account or on your Facebook account. You get these feeds and mostly it comes from people in your network, right? So when you see people in your network say things like, oh, I got promoted. Oh, I'm starting my own business. Oh, I just got this certification. Oh, here's a workshop that my company is doing. Just respond to them the same way that you do on your other social accounts. Give them an emoji or congratulations or when does that webinar, maybe I'll join. Why is that? You want to stay engaged. So 2 years down the road, if you have this network on LinkedIn and maybe you've gone to one of their webinars, you can use that as an in. Hey, Tom, I was at your webinar 6 months ago and I, heard you guys say that there was a new, project happening in Tampa, and I would really love to put my hat in the ring. Great. Tom doesn't know you, but he does know that you went to his webinar and you guys met. And so you have this casual professional relationship. That is all networking is. How many of you know the people in this class? Probably not. You're from all over Central Florida. But let me ask you, give me a thumbs up if all of you are on LinkedIn, and let's say all of you connected to each other. 2 years from now, one of these people in this class, right, reaches out to you and says, hey, I saw that posting that you did. I was in your class, career planning class at Southern Tech. You mind passing on my resume? How many people would say sure? Give me a thumbs up. If it was like, sure, why not? Why not? Why is that? Because it's not complete stranger danger, right? It's like, oh, okay, there is some familiarity with that person. And probably even more so if they were at your campus, right? Maybe you haven't talked to the person in a year. Why does it matter? You have a connection. Maybe they've given you a couple emojis and they've read an article that you've written, whatever, and you're keeping that going. Look how easy that is. You've just put yourself at the head of the line just because you stay connected with people and you network. See how easy that is? And it evolves over time. You're going to meet so many different people in your profession. Some of you are going to travel. Some of you will change jobs. You know, you're going to meet so many different people. So your network will increase. I have people that I taught in Africa. I used to teach in Ghana at a university. They still network with me. They'll be like, oh, Professor Taylor, I just started my own this and I started my own that way in Ghana. I'm like, my God, great. You never know. You never know, right? Um, I have people that ask me to do references for them that they worked with me 15 years ago. Okay, you know, you're still doing the same thing, and I could tell them what you did when you worked with me. Absolutely. It's all about networking. Yes, networking face to face was very common back in my day. We used to go out doing happy hour and all those different types of things. And we had business cards and all of that. And that is still a thing, right? You know, but there are other forms of networking. You know, most times your company will give you these business cards, or you can make your own. You know, I've had made my own at times too when my company didn't provide it. Why would I do that? Because remember, at the end of the day, I have a career plan that is much bigger than my company. So if my company doesn't have business cards, I may make my own business cards because I'm going to continue to promote myself. And this is why it's so important to have a plan, because when you have a plan, you're not really thinking about your company that you currently work for. You already know that they are a stop on the plan, right? They're step one. And your step one is to work for them for 3 years and then go into some type of supervisory position, because that is what's on your career plan. You've done your research and you know that after 3 years, you can get into a supervisory role. If this company does not have a supervisory role, you're just going to stay there until, because they have good potlucks at Christmas. Oh, they're really close to my house. That's nice, but what does that have to do with your plan? You understand? So if you follow your plan and you know that you need a supervisory role, yeah, you can't just pop in and out of jobs here and there. We understand that too, right? We understand that too. That's why you do need to take into consideration, you know, what are the competitors, of course, how hard it is to get a job and all those different things. But at the same time, how long are you going to ride out one job if you have a plan and you have a goal? Because what are you really doing now? It's just okay, I have a job. Your career, building your career, is completely up to you, and sometimes you have to take those risks. But if you're following your plan, even if that means, okay, I need to go to their competitors because they do have a supervisory role, it doesn't seem like it's as friendly. They don't have potluck at Christmas. Who cares? You're there to learn, you're there to get the information that you need. And yes, of course, there's always, you know, a fear of, oh, what if their boss is crazy? What if I lose my job? Like there's always that fear of anything, you know, because people are people. But most things I can tell people, uh, in the words of by good Ghanaian West African people, you have to learn to hold your nose and walk through certain environments, right? So if you work at a company, whether it's your first company or second company, and is not the best, right? The culture is not the best. If your plan says that you want to be in the supervisory role for the next 2 years before you go and start your license to get your studying for your license, I can do anything for 2 years. You know what? The smell is not as bad when you have a plan. Does that make sense? When you have a plan, you can suffer through a lot of things because you know what it is you're trying to accomplish. it's difficult to suffer through things because no job is designed for you, right? Because what you think is horrible, somebody else may think is great. That's why you don't fall in love with somebody else's job. You know, it's you fall in love with your career and what it is you're trying to accomplish. Because what a company can never ever control is your career. You control that. So even if you're holding your nose at this one company that made you a supervisor, it's not as good as the last company, but at least you got promoted. You are following your plan and you stick to your plan. Do not get comfortable with that company because y'all know companies come and go unless you have done your research and you know that this company is a company that has longevity, right? So you don't just hang your hat anywhere. It's like you don't marry anybody. So if you're just dating this company for 2 years until you can study for your exam and go get your exam and then move to the next place, you're controlling that. Does that make sense? That is how people go through their careers. You're not in a job, you're in a career, so you have to control it. Take that exam. And if that next year you say, okay, after I pass my certification exam, I'm gonna give myself 1 year and I'm start my own business, and that's what you do. And that, my friends, is how you get to success. There is no secret to success. Success is basically preparation and opportunity. Preparation and opportunity. You can Google it. That is the definition of success. And most people are successful when they have a plan. They're walking through the same crap as everybody else, but they're more focused. In the military, we call it dead reckoning. I am a dead reckoner. I didn't know that until I was in the military and I had to do land navigation. Anybody knows what land navigation is? Give me a thumbs up if you know what land navigation is. In the United States Army, you get tested. You get tested on if you got lost in the wilderness, could you find your way out? No, it's not why they do that. But I'm going to tell you, it was in the dead of winter, and I was in South Korea, and I was going from being a specialist to a sergeant, and you had to go through land navigation. Watch this, in the day and in the night, 5 mile radius. They're going to give you some grid coordinates, a protractor, a compass, and, and a map. And you have to go out in the wilderness by yourself and find these points. Okay, yeah, yeah, in the day and in the night. So when I didn't know what I was doing at first, I almost had a nervous breakdown. And then this person was, nice enough to say, okay, here's how you do it. And I was so focused on getting it done that when I did my first point and I shot my compass and then my compass told me to go in that direction, I just went in that direction. I didn't even realize that there was a trail I could have taken that was like a beaten path. And then I could have gotten to that point and shot what we call a back azimuth. I just went straight forward. And let me tell you, when I went straight forward, it's a couple things. I got hurt. I got hurt. Give me 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. All right, sorry about that. I actually got hurt because I did not pay attention to the little hills I had to climb. There was a little body of water. I was even pulling myself up off of trees to try to get to my point. And when I got to that point, there were people that were following this trail, and they were like, Taylor, you could have followed the trail. My commanders laughed so hard at me. And they said, you dead reckoned your way to the point? I'm like, that's the only way I know how to do stuff. I have such laser focus that if you tell me to go that way, that's what I'm going to do. I don't think about what's in front of me. Now, sometimes that's good and sometimes it's bad, but I am definitely a dead reckoner. Am I telling you to be that way and put your blinders on? Yes and no. I'm telling you, nothing is easy. There are going to be some times you're going to have to hold your nose, but if you stay focused on your plan, the possibility of you getting there is a lot higher than you focusing on the trees and the water and the rivers and having to pull yourself up a little bit. Does that make sense? There's a lot of people that never get things done because they're afraid of what's in front of them. You can't be afraid of what's in front of you, right? You're not getting this degree because you're just trying to be safe. You're getting this degree because you have a plan, you have a goal. I want you to really believe in that long-term goal that you set for yourself. Don't just write it down and be like, oh, okay, it's whatever for the grade, because that's all it's going to be if you don't put it into practice. All right. So when you are networking with people, it is a tool that you are going to use. You can let people know what your goals are. Now, I will say this, you don't need to go around at the company that you're at, letting everybody know. So when you start your jobs, you don't have to be like, yeah, my goal is to start my own business. Like, yeah, I'm going to be out of here, suckers. Like, you don't have to tell them all that. That part you can leave out, right? Don't share, don't overshare. But it is okay when you are networking outside of the jobs that you have to let people know what it is you're trying to do. Because a lot of times what will happen is they'll have all this advice for you. They say, hey, have you tried this? You should look to there. Let me introduce you to these people. It's good, good, good. All right. Obviously, when you do in-person networking, this goes without saying, clearly you need to dress the part. Ain't nobody's going to take you serious if you don't take yourself serious. A lot of times what people do not understand is that, do you realize that one of the reasons why they say that you should, be mindful of how you present yourself? Because what you tell other people is how you feel about yourself. That's the message people get. The message that people get when they look at you is how you feel about yourself. Think about it. If you see someone and they're decked out and they're dressed to the nines, or they're well manicured, they have their haircuts, they have their hair tapered, if it's a female, everything's looking good, they smell good. What message is that given to you? Subliminally, it also tells you how to treat them. When you walk up to a person that presents themselves well, whether you realize it or not, it affects how you engage with that person. As opposed to a person that says, oh, I don't care how I look, I don't care what I smell like, I'm in my own world, I'm doing my own thing. But you're never in your own world, because there's only one world. So you are in a world with other people, and they are going to treat you according to how you present yourself. So you want, I don't understand why people are talking to me that way, or why people are giving me this type of feedback. It's because what they see, you're saying, I don't care about myself. I don't care how I present myself to you. Now, I don't know if some of your parents may have told you that. That could be an old school philosophy, but I am telling you, my friends, when you are out, especially if you are networking, and especially if you're wanting to take yourself serious in your career and you want others to take you serious, you have to pay attention to how you present yourself. Does that make sense? You don't have to buy things that look like $1,000,000, but there's this thing called an iron and some soap, right? It's not hard, but it will affect how people treat you, especially when you're trying to network and to get opportunities. It's not about you looking rich. It's not about you're pretending to be someone else. It is a message that you are sending. So I want you to be mindful of the message you are sending. All right. Now, with the online etiquette, with the networking, all of those things too, in addition to, well, we talked about the LinkedIn, there are other ways you can network. Of course, we talked about Instagram, we talked about Twitter, we talked about Facebook. All of those are different ways. There's so many different ways nowadays, and there's even more than that. You guys probably even know better, more than me, of how you can to present yourself and network. Good headshots, right? Don't have, and I know, okay, VA people, don't get mad at me. The shots with the animals and all that kind of stuff. You can just be mindful, right? Oh, me, my favorite kitty. That's okay. But again, think about the image that you are setting. Think about the message that you are presenting to people when you do those headshots. Even when you post stuff online, always be mindful of the message. We always like to say, and I don't buy it, and be honest with you. Oh, I I didn't want people to do this when they look at me, or I didn't want people to do that when they look at me. And if you're honest with yourself, yes, you did. You kind of did. But what you probably didn't want is maybe unsolicited or things that you didn't expect, right? So you always have to say, okay, if I post this, whether it's a picture, whether it's a quote, whether it's my own opinion about something, I have to be mindful that number one, it is saying a message about me. And number two, it could get feedback. Do you know the number of times I've seen something in the news and I wanted to get my little Twitter fingers and I wanted to so bad. And let me tell you something, I've done that twice in my lifetime, and I regretted it each time because my inbox got inundated with people replying back to my reply. I wasn't even talking to them. I was just making a statement. And I was like, I'm never doing that again, especially with my introverted self. I do not want to talk to people. But I put it out there. If you put something out there, you're going to get something back, right? Just know that. I was so mad because I was getting ping, ping, ping from something I had posted like a month earlier. It infuriated me. And it's only because I just don't like things in my inbox. But I put it out there, so that's what I get, right? So just be mindful of that. All right. So we talked, online etiquette. Listen, my friends. One thing too, especially when you start to apply for jobs, don't be the weird person that stalks people. I don't know if I told you about the lady that stalked me on LinkedIn. I put out a position. She thought she was great for it, and she would not leave me alone. She was like, I don't understand why you didn't choose me. And I'm like, ma'am, you're like 150 emails. 150 resumes I got, and you weren't the best. Like, but I'm not your psychiatrist, and I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth with you on that. Like, creepy stuff, right? People are different. Don't be that person, right? Also, using proper etiquette, using proper greetings when you're engaging with people. Remember, you are a professional. It's how you present yourself, how you present yourself. I can't say that enough. How you present yourself. So many people do not think about how they are presenting themselves. And in essence, the way you present yourself is you giving people permission to treat you a certain way based on how you present yourself. I know I'm preaching on that, but I can't say enough about it. All right. So that is why, we have these LinkedIn accounts. It is why we want you to have a LinkedIn account. And actually, is your LinkedIn account today? Give me a thumbs up. Let me see. Can't remember if I set it for today or not. Hold on, I'm just checking. Let's see. Yeah, so we're doing LinkedIn today. How many of you have a LinkedIn account? Okay, let's see a few. All right. With your LinkedIn account, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to walk through it really quickly. I just want to show you what I want you to do when you do your LinkedIn account. This assignment, I think I'm already on mine. Oh, I have a friend. I'm going to stop sharing here and let me share my LinkedIn account because I want to show you exactly what I want you to do. Okay. All right. Once you sign up for LinkedIn, the same way that you would sign up, and let me first say this, even if you don't want this LinkedIn account, maybe you're not ready, you can do a dummy one. You can use your school email, put it in, do the basics, and you can always take it down and delete it. But you need to show us how that you do know how to do it. For those of you that already have an account, even better. For those of you that are excited about starting it, this is how you do it. I think I even put a video in your on your campus site that she walks you through how to set up a LinkedIn account, right? Normally I show it in class, but it's about almost 20 minutes, so I'm not going to show it today. But here's the thing. Once you sign up, what's going to happen, this is your landing page. This is not what you'll see, but this is your landing page. I wanted to stay here for a second because I wanted to show you those feeds that you get. A lot of them come right here, these news feeds, and 90% of them are people that you know. This is someone I worked with at school. She was a admissions person, right? And now she's gone on to, work in New York, and she has her own business. That's her doing her thing. Look at her go. Also, of course, I'm into IT, so I get a lot of that IT stuff. This is someone else I worked with at a different university, ex-military, no, ex-police officer. Now he's gone on to work in IT, and we engage with each other. I can keep going down here. A lot of times too, it tells you obviously if you are connected to someone, something that they found that was interesting. So that's what I was referring to on those news feeds. I'm going to click over here because this is your home page, if you will. So, well, this is your home page, but this is your profile page. So I'm going to click here because this is where you will be updating your stuff, right? So when you first log in, LinkedIn is going to give you the options to set this up. One thing I want you to do is to do your photo, right? So you go here and you just hit that and you can upload your photo. Here, this is my tagline. If you remember from us doing our resume, I told you that personal
Excuse
brand
me, I got a
statement.
question.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry. So we gotta we gotta take a selfie.
No, you don't have to take a selfie if you don't have well, I mean, you need a photo. I mean, if that's all you
No, I know.
got.
I'm just asking, like, does it have to be like a selfie?
Um, as opposed to what, like a photo you already have?
Yeah, I mean, I have a picture, but it's like old. So yeah, I probably would have to take the selfie. Like all
Yeah,
my
you want
pictures
it to
are
be
really
just,
old. Hey,
yeah, you want it to be just of yourself. That's the main thing, right?
okay.
And that's why the video is good because she talks about that. She's a professor, she does this as well. And you really don't want to have like things in the background, people in the background. Some people do stuff like, "Oh, me at the beach." That no, what are you saying, right? I've had this is a selfie. Um, I've had like professional photos I've used, but mine, like you said, mine was really old. So I'm like, oh, I don't have any most recent. I don't want somebody thinking that's what I look like now. So I just tried to do a selfie and I did there's a software application where I just cleaned up the background and just posted it. Um, so again, yeah, if you can, I mean, you guys are tech savvy. Y'all can, take a just, you can just go to a white wall and take a picture. Even that would be fine. All right.
Okay, thank you.
No problem, sir. And then also too, if you remember what I was talking about from your resumes, right? We were talking about that personal brand statement. Now, I did mine like this. I talked about my background, what I have degrees in, and then what I promote on this site, right? Um, and then I go on the next section. So the first section, and if you look here, it's kind of like they're modules based, right? These little boxes. This one is for your your photo, your little tagline, and if you go down, the next section, this is just for me. Don't worry about that. The next section is your about section. This is literally that summary qualifications on your resume. You can edit this and copy and paste it from your resume, like literally copy and paste it, or If you want to change it, you can. The activity section is stuff they're showing me. And then the big section then here is your experience. And this is copy and pasting from your resume. That's all it is. Copy and pasting from your resume, right? So obviously this is my consulting. Well, I don't really promote my teaching. Don't judge me. But I do have some teaching up here, right? And so then your education is here. Then you go to your certifications. You don't have to do all of this, guys. I'm just showing you what's here, right? So y'all see that, right? So what I want you guys to do is once you've done this, right? So the main thing is to click on your profile. Pay attention to here. Look at this right here. It has my website. Y'all see that? LinkedIn, Cynthia Taylor. I'm trying to do some of this stuff. It says what? LinkedIn, Cynthia Taylor, MBA, blah, 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 right? What am I going to do? I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy it. And then that is what I'm going to post in my assignment to say I did my LinkedIn. Y'all see that? And it says, it has my name, C. Taylor, MBA, and that's how I'll know that this is your profile account. So don't do this one on home, because if you do home, it's just going to say this. And sometimes people make a mistake and give me that. I can't check your account. You go here, and then it has your information. Does everyone see that? And that is what you just highlight, copy, and paste in the assignment. Any questions on that? Sounds good? All right. Let me stop sharing this. So just to wrap up, what do I want from you? I want to see a headline, which is that profile, your headline. Y'all saw my tagline. The next section is the about section, copy and paste from your profile. Education and experience. If you don't have any skills, don't worry about that. If you do, you can do that section as well. Any questions? All right. So here's your participation question for the day. I just want to know, what would you do? If I made you an offer, would the reputation of my company influence whether you would work for me or not? In other words, my ethics, my workplace ethics, does that be an issue for you? Or rather, really my business ethics. I saw a lot of you got that confused. Remember, guys, business ethics is how the company conducts their work. Workplace ethics is how you conduct yourself, right? But would you work for anybody? Would it bother you? Just want to know. How would the reputation of a company influence your decision? You may say it don't influence me at all because I'm following my plan. That's what the teacher said. I wouldn't be mad at you. All right, my friends, that is it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back here tomorrow where we're talking about business plan writing, I think. Have a great day, guys.